My name is George. I was born in Plainfield, New Jersey, a little small city, central Jersey, about 30 minutes from New York City. I currently live in Brooklyn, and I'm an activist and a journalist, and I was diagnosed HIV positive in 2010. I often call it the best, worst day of my life. I remember I was 25, I had just turned 25 that Halloween, and I just wasn't feeling well. And so 2-3 weeks later, I was like, okay, I have to go to the doctor and figure out what's going on. So I went to the clinic in our town and got tested. And of course it came back positive. And I just remember in that moment sitting there for like 20 to 30 minutes just crying. But like an idiot, I did this on my lunch break, so I had to go back to work. And so I went back to work, and in the midst of being back at work, everybody could see on my face that something was wrong, but I was just like, no, I'm good. And I got a phone call, and my mortgage had got approved. So on the same day that I tested positive, my mortgage was also approved. And in that moment, I had to make a decision if I was going to, wallow in the decision that I had just got an hour prior, or if I was gonna choose to, stand up and live and make that choice to live, which was something of what my story has always been. The biggest issue that I had though around being HIV positive was I had my teeth kicked out when I was 5. I dealt with sexual assault as a teenager. I dealt with bullying because I was obviously queer, and it was like I could deal with all those things, but the one thing I couldn't deal with was being a disappointment to my family. And for me, it just felt that being HIV positive after doing so many great things and going to college and getting a master's degree and now buying a house, that was just going to be one thing that would put a damper on my life and have people look at me differently. And so I kind of shut down in terms of my status, and I just didn't say anything to anyone for about 3 years. I had the opportunity to move from where I was living at the time, which was Richmond, Virginia, to Washington, D.C., and that's kind of where I decided I wanted to live as a whole person and fully take back my life. And so I decided to get on treatment. My status went to becoming undetectable. I started writing about it, I started talking about it, and I became like this really strong advocate for other people who were dealing with the same condition that I was dealing with, but afraid to talk about it. Just having HIV really transformed my life. It changed everything about me. It pushed me into activism, it pushed me into journalism, and it pushed me into the forefront of the career that I'm living today. So I guess my story is, I don't look at HIV as something that happened to me. I look at it as something that just brought me to my purpose. And so now every day I wake up, I take my medication, but I now know that I'm here for a reason. And that reason is to help other people like me.